Ever pondered about the different types of men that you should steer clear from in a relationship? The world is full of all kinds of people, and unfortunately some of them could bring more pain than happiness into your life. Believe it or not, there are 7 specific types that could potentially save you from experiencing a tremendous amount of heartache down the line. First and foremost, we have a type that you might have encountered at least once: the perpetual child. This is the man who adamantly refuses to grow up, tenaciously clinging to his receding days of youthful freedom. He stubbornly resists the natural progression of life, choosing instead to remain in the cocoon of his glory days. This type of man has a proclivity for shirking responsibility as if it were a contagious disease. He's the kind of person who sees responsibilities as chains, binding him from the carefree lifestyle he so desperately clings to. Instead of supporting you, he expects to be taken care of, much similar to a child. In many ways, he remains a child inside, seeking constant pampering and attention. It's not that he doesn't understand responsibilities, he simply chooses to avoid them, living in a bubble of eternal adolescence. Sure, this type of man can be fun. He could take you on adventures and make you feel young. However, it's crucial to remember you're seeking a partner, someone who can share your burdens and walk with you through the hardships of life. You're not on a quest to find a project that requires constant fixing and coddling. Next is the narcissist, a character draped in self-love and self-adoration that is so intense, so profound, it eclipses his ability to appreciate or adore anyone else. This man is not just in love with himself, he is obsessed. His reflection in the mirror is his favorite vision, his own voice his favorite sound. He is always lost in the realm of himself, absorbed in the self-created world revolving around his wants, needs, and desires. This man's very existence is centered on the principle of me, myself, and I. His needs are always urgent, his wants always top priority, and his desires the ultimate law. He is the king of his universe and expects everyone else to orbit around him like obedient planets around a self-absorbed sun. His desires are not mere wishes. They are grand commands issued from the throne of his inflated ego. But the most alarming characteristic of this man is his complete lack of empathy. His world is so filled with his own self that there's no room left for the feelings, needs, or wants of others. His heart is a barren land where the seeds of compassion and understanding never sprout. His lack of empathy is not just a missing trait, it is an abyss that engulfs any chance of connection with others. In his kingdom, his word is the law. His utter disregard for others' feelings can easily translate into an arrogance that is both off-putting and repulsive. This arrogance is not silent. It screams from his actions, his words, and his attitudes. It loudly broadcasts his belief of self-superiority and creates a barrier that repels others. His arrogance can be a major turnoff. Then we have the control freak. This man needs to have everything his way, to see the world conform to his perspective, his ideas, his beliefs. His preference isn't just about having things his way, it's a yearning, a desperate need. It's his unique characteristic that separates him from the rest. His personality is one of dominance, always at the helm of affairs. He desires to master every situation, every circumstance. Every moment of his life is carefully curated and meticulously managed. He thrives on certainty, predictability, and a sense of order. This control is not limited to his personal space, but extends to those around him. He likes to control every situation and every person in his life, dictating their actions, their thoughts, their very existence. It's a manifestation of his deep-seated fears and insecurities. He uses control as a shield, a way to ensure his world stays within his grasp. His relationships are marked by this need for control. Friends, family, loved ones, all are subject to his dictatorial tendencies. Every interaction, every conversation is an opportunity for him to exert his influence, to shape the world and people to his liking. But this obsessive need for control is a double-edged sword. His controlling nature can lead to emotional abuse. The control he so meticulously maintains could cross the line from assertiveness to aggression. He might not even be aware of the damage he's causing. He is so consumed by his need for control that he neglects the emotional safety of others. His actions, born out of fear, often mask a deeper emotional turmoil. So, be cautious, recognize the signs, and protect yourself. Control, in any form, can quickly become toxic. Being vigilant can save you from a painful experience. Fourth, we have the workaholic. This man is bound to his job as if they have taken vows of lifelong commitment. Unable to tear himself away from his professional pursuits, he is inextricably engrossed in his work, overlooking every other aspect of his life, especially his relationships. This man, who we fondly term as the workaholic, is imprisoned in the unforgiving cycle of his job. There is a constant struggle, an ongoing battle between his personal life and the demands of his career. And more often than not, work emerges as the victorious contender, occupying the majority of his time, thoughts, and energy. His work is the sun around which his life orbits, and you, unfortunately, are a distant planet awaiting his attention, his time, his love. The scales of balance continuously tip in favor of his work, leaving you stranded on the other side, hoping, waiting. Even when he is physically present with you, his mind is simultaneously orchestrating a business deal or solving a work-related puzzle. His conversations are littered with work jargon. His thoughts are a maze of numbers, graphs, and deadlines, and his eyes perpetually haunted by a glint of his next big project. Remember, a relationship is a shared journey, a journey that requires the active participation of both parties involved. It demands reciprocation, and just as he puts his heart and soul into his work, so must he invest in you. After all, you are not a supporting character in his life, but a protagonist deserving of equal attention and love. Remember, a relationship is a two-way street, and you deserve attention too. Next, we have the commitment-phobe. This man is an enigma wrapped in a mystery, a puzzle that's intriguing yet bewildering. He is terrified of the concept of commitment, of being shackled to one person, one relationship. His eyes are mirrors of trepidation that reflect the terror incited by the prospect of permanent attachment. Every mention of a future together, of a life entwined, is enough to send chills down his spine. There's a constant war inside him, a battle between the heart that craves intimacy and a mind that abhors confinement. He is a man who, despite being surrounded by an ocean of emotions, stands alone on an island of solitary anticipation. He fears the notion of forever, and the very whisper of the word commitment echoes with a foreboding sense of dread in his ears. His feet itch to flee at the slightest inclination of being trapped, and his heart pounds with the unnerving fear of being anchored. He can often be seen in the shadows, lurking at the outskirts of serious conversations about the future. He deftly sidesteps any discussion that hints at the possibility of long-term promise, delicately avoiding the subject like a dancer would a misstep. He is the master of deflection and diversion when it comes to conversations about commitment. Uncertainty is his constant companion, a faithful friend that stands by his side while he grapples with the very idea of lasting relationships. However, one mustn't mistake his fear for incapability. He is perfectly capable of loving. It's just the idea of forever that haunts him. He could be the most affectionate partner, the most caring friend, yet the fear of tomorrow always looms over him like an ominous cloud. Stability is not his strong suit. The sixth type is the liar. This inscrutable entity is an enigma wrapped in a riddle, a paradox personified. It's as if he's taken on the role of a character in an epic drama with his own set of alternate realities, where the truth is a mere plaything, a malleable concept that bends and twists to his whims and fancies. He is a man who has perfected the art of deception, layering lie upon lie until it forms a complex tapestry of untruths. His lies range across a spectrum so broad it's almost staggering. They encompass everything from the most insignificant trivia to significant, life-altering facts. They could be as simple as denying he ate the last cookie, or as complex as concealing a lifetime of secrets. Nothing is too big or too small for his deceptive tongue. In his world, lies become truths, and truths become lies. He fabricates stories so convincingly that they seem like reality. Even the most discerning minds may find themselves entangled in his web of deceit. His life is an elaborate labyrinth of falsehoods, a maze with no exit, and he's the master puppeteer, pulling all the strings. With every lie he tells, he chips away at the edifice of trust. Each untruth is a crack in the foundation, destabilizing the very essence of the relationship. With him, trust is not just questioned, it's constantly on trial. His lies are not just a breach of trust, they are a betrayal of the fundamental values of honesty, integrity, and respect. They corrode the relationship from within, turning what could be a bond of love and understanding into a crumbling ruin of suspicion and doubt. Trust forms the foundation of a relationship, and with him, it's always shaky. Finally, we have the cheater. This character represents a man who struggles with commitment and loyalty. He is the one who is perpetually unsatisfied, always looking for something more, something different. His eyes wander, and his heart remains unfaithful, always searching for the next thrill. This man is a ship without an anchor, always drifting, never finding a place to truly call home. He will tell you sweet words of love, whisper promises in your ear that sound like a symphony in the night. But beware, for not all that glitters is gold. He might tell you that he will change, that he will transform into a new man, a better man. He will promise to keep his eyes solely on you, to be yours and only yours. However, it's all a mirage, a carefully crafted illusion to keep you hanging on. Old habits, they say, die hard. This couldn't be truer for the cheater. For him, the temptation of a new adventure, a new romance, a new thrill always proves stronger than his will. He's a moth drawn to a flame, knowing well the consequences, but unable to resist the call. His actions are a reflection of his inner turmoil. His constant need for newness, excitement, and thrill comes from a place of deep insecurity and dissatisfaction. He is not happy with himself, and thus, he can never be truly content with someone else. Remember, while we all have the capacity for change, it requires immense strength and will. It's not impossible, but it's also not something that happens overnight. It's a journey, often long and strenuous. You, my dear, are a person of worth. You have dreams to chase, goals to achieve, and a life full of potential. You deserve love, respect, and loyalty. You deserve a man who stays true to his words, a man who values you not just for your beauty, but for your mind and soul. Trust me, you deserve a man who only has eyes for you. To recap, steer clear of the perpetual child, a man stuck within the confines of his youth, a character who refuses to mature, unable to step out of the shadow of irresponsibility. He may seem charming with his devil-may-care attitude, but in the long run, it's you who'll have to bear the burden of his immaturity. Next, beware of the narcissist. This is the type of man who is deeply in love with his own reflection, his own success, his own world. He's a man who fails to acknowledge your existence, let alone your needs. And remember, you deserve more than a love that merely orbits around him. Then we come to the control freak. This man wants every thread of his life, including yours, to be woven according to his plan. You're not a puppet. You are a human with your own dreams, aspirations, and plans. The workaholic is a different breed altogether. His heart belongs first and foremost to his job, leaving you craving his time and attention. You deserve to be someone's priority, not an option. Mr. Commitment-phobe, on the other hand, fears the very thought of settling down. With him, you may find yourself stuck in an endless loop short-term flings, devoid of any real commitment. The liar is a man who dons a mask of deception, his words often steeped in untruths. A relationship without trust is like a bird without wings. It simply can't fly. And finally, the cheater. This man, with his wandering and unfaithful heart, may lead you down a path of broken trust and shattered self-esteem. Stay strong and don't accept anything less. Remember, the right man is out there waiting for you. Don't settle less than you deserve. Stay smart, stay strong, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Because you, my friend, are absolutely worth it.